Welcome to the 42nd episode of the Daft Previews podcast. My name is Dan. I'm joined by my co-host Luke. If you listened to this before, you know what it is. Shameless plug to kick things off. Join the Discord. It's the most engaging punting community in the nation. The link is in the description. If you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe. We've only got fucking 12. Let's boost this thing up to 13. Follow us on Dabble.
13.
At least 13. Follow us on Dabble, Facebook, and Instagram to kick things off. If you're only here for a short time, we'll share with you with our best bets so you can listen to them, write them down, and then you can fuck right off. To kick things off with me, I'm taking Brisbane's total points over 12.5. Massive value on one of the greatest teams going around. I'm taking the Raiders and Dogs under 39.5 points. Taking the Cowboys to absolutely slap the Newcastle Knights, minus 14.5 for the Cows. And I'm taking the X-Man, the ex-Broncos winger, absolutely dominant, Xavier Coates, to score a try in the first half. Multiply those suckers together, you're looking at over $16. I personally sprinkled a little bit of $50 on that sucker, winning over 700 bones. Lucas, what do you got for this week?
4 picks. I've got Friday night, I've got Penrith to cover the line, minus 12.5 against Para. I've got the Cowboys to also pump the useless Newcastle Knights at minus 14.5. Then I've got the Sharks to pump the Warriors from 2 weeks ago, hopefully at minus 13.5. But then my big bet, I've got actually Broncos plus 11.5 to cover the line against South. So I'm joining you now in buying into the hype. Yep. Put all those in a multi together, 13-1. Very confident on these bets this week.
We're going to eat, my friend. So for those of you who are just here for your bets, you can piss off now because we're about to get loose. I did mention earlier that this is the most engaging punting community in the nation, the Daft Previews Discord group. So today we're going to be bringing in one of the D-Gens of Discord. One of our wonderful members is the People's Champ, nominated by every active member in the Discord. Luke, bring him in so I can introduce everybody to him.
Bringing him in.
Here he comes.
Hey.
Coming to you live is Lachlan. Lachlan, what's your surname? Cookson?
Cooksy.
Cooksy.
Yeah.
Absolutely cooked. Well, how you doing? You ready for this?
Yeah, man. I'm doing good.
You should be. Well, you're representing all the D-Gens of the Discord this week.
They all nominated you. They all believe you are the number one and the righteous one. So you're putting in your best bets for this week. What have you got for us?
And before I say my bets, if anyone wants to join the Discord, where would that be?
Great question.
We got links in the description.
Link in the description.
Okay, so my first bet of the day would be South, Penrith, and Seagulls to all win for a cheeky $2.04.
Let's double that up, baby.
Cheeky double up. And the reasoning for that would be they all had an amazing week last week, and I do believe they should be even better this week.
Great.
I hope.
We all hope, but yeah, go on.
Yeah. For my second bet, it is Storm 13 plus and Sharks, Cowboys, and Roosters to win for a grand total of $2.59.
Juicy. We'll take another double up. Okay.
Double.
Yeah. For reasonings, for Storms, well, they were fucking dominating performance last week.
They were fucking dominating.
And I'm pretty damn sure they would dominate again, and 13 plus should be easy.
Mm-hmm.
The Sharks should be a good game. I'm going to predict it'll be very close, but Sharks will eventually come out on top.
Okay.
For the Cowboys, well, they're versing the Knights, so if Cowboys lose this game, then they have to rethink their game plan because Knights are pretty damn bad at the moment. So Cowboys should take this dub easy.
Yeah,
very good.
And the Roosters, with an unlucky loss last week against the Dogs, they want to look to pick up their game, and they will take this win, I believe.
To bounce back.
Bounce back. Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
Now, bet 3 is kind of a cop-out. I just combined my bet 1 and bet 2.
What odds do you get for that?
$5.30.
Oh, here we go.
So that's
moist.
pretty good odds. And this one is more of a value. I did Penrith, Roosters, Cowboys, and Storm to all win 13 plus.
What
How much
odds?
does that one pay?
What odds you get? That one?
The odds would be $10.47.
Ooh,
It's not bad.
That's worth a bonus bet. That
That's
one. I
worth it.
reckon.
That's a really
Yeah,
good
so if
one.
you want to take a bonus on that, you can do that. I checked in the morning, so the odds may change, but I got that at $10.47.
Well done.
I reckon that'll come in closer to the games. Almost like that'll come in the odds. So if you're
Yeah.
listening and you like Lachlan's bet, $10 right now, get amongst it. So those are all your bets, Lockie?
Yeah, they're all my bets for the NRL, yeah.
All right, cool. Well, I know you're prepared to share those bets, but I want to throw some questions at you.
Go ahead.
Firstly, how did you find the Daft Previews Discord?
Camo.
Uncle Camo.
Yeah, he posted a post in one of the Facebook groups of a horse or dog multi. I got on it, and he said, like, join the Discord. I'm like, yeah, sure. And funny enough, I was actually in a betting Discord with Camo before, like a while ago.
Yeah.
So I knew
Has he tipped any winners since?
Camo.
Yeah.
Yeah, Camo has amazing bets in Camo tips.
Ah.
What's he specialized in?
He does good in AFL and I think NRL and the dogs and the horses. Like, he's an amazing tipster and he's a amazing bloke. I talk to him every day.
How much does he charge you for tips?
For me, nothing.
Well, all tips are free in the Discord. Camo is one of our expert tippers. Another question for you, Lockie.
Yeah, go ahead.
What do you think about the Discord that we're in?
It's an amazing Discord, good community, amazing banter. People do take the piss of you, but it's always for jokes. No one ever takes anything too seriously.
Beautiful. Now, the next question I'm going to ask you, your answer can't be Camo, because I know he's probably listening to this one. So who's your favorite member within the Discord?
Okay, good question. I'll give you a male and a female because both
Quality.
genuine quality, and that just proves that anyone can join the Discord, male, female, or non-binary, or anything else. So,
who are they?
besides Camo, maybe Kurt for the male and Sonia for the female.
I'm glad you clarified Kurt for the male because there has been questions about that I've heard. So,
but yeah, Kurt for the male and either Sonia or Beck for the female.
Those are good choices. Now, the next question, Lockie, is who's your least favorite member? Who grinds your gears in there?
The War Daddy.
War Daddy.
There was no hesitation there. Did you know? Straight in. Very confident. Why War Daddy? What's he a bad tipper or why is your reasoning?
Not much reasoning. He says, yes. There's not much reason behind it. It's just like, if I could pick anyone, it'd be War Daddy.
Yeah, fair enough. I'll take
He's
it.
blunt. He's direct. He's got some strong opinions. But he does make the place quite entertaining, though, doesn't he?
He sure does, yeah.
Where are you from, Lachlan? Where do you live?
I'm New South Wales. I actually live near Dan.
Whereabouts? What suburb? For that
Inner West.
Inner West. Nice. And who do you support in the NRL? Who's your team?
NRL, I'd probably say the Seagulls, I guess.
Okay. Fair enough. And
what's your favourite sport to tip on, Lock?
Yeah,
what do you like to bet on?
What do you like betting on?
I like NRL and AFL bets.
And what do you do when it's the off season though?
I would probably either have a small break or I would bet on the horses and stuff.
Yeah, we don't stop. There's always something to bet on.
There's always something. To bet on. Even you can bet on the election in a few weeks if you want. I've got
you can. It's so fucking dumb. You can bet on that.
Lucky, how great was it betting on the AFL women? We had good fun with that.
I mean, I actually won a fair bit of money on that, so yeah, I enjoyed that.
Yeah, we just check the weather, look for wind, and go unders, right?
Unders, yeah, it's the play.
Yeah, check the wind. Usually the wind was pretty bad. and unders usually always hit.
Yeah, that was pretty juicy. Well, look, one last question before we
Yeah,
let
go
you go.
ahead.
Is which Discord member do you want to see on the podcast representing the DGens of the Discord next week?
Ooh, who's will be next week?
Yeah, who's the guest going to be?
Because a lot of people are listening to this, and we'll see if they jump on.
Yeah, maybe Camo or Kurt, because Kurt has a fair bit of free time, because it's not the first time, but the second time he's had fucking COVID. So
That's a good
Kurt
point.
could be a good.
I heard
Bitch.
Kurt's an anti-vaxxer as well, so it's a bit of a controversial guest as well. Yeah.
Or who you talked about last week, good old Kai, maybe the
Last Kai?
new person into the tipping thing.
Yeah.
He has
I knew-
amazing tips, and yeah,
Okay. All right, well, if you're listening, there's Lachlan's 2 picks to join, but at the end of the day, it's the people will decide. So, look, Lockie, we'll let you go. I know it's late. We've got a lot of things we've got to get through, but appreciate you coming on, sharing those dope tips. Share those slips within the Discord so people can get onto it, yeah?
yeah, I will, man. I will send them into the NRL chat when I leave this call.
Awesome. Look, I appreciate it. And look, I appreciate everything you do within the Discord as well. You've brought in new members. You keep all the chats active. There's some great banter. And you've got, people have been roasting you and you've got some great responses. So you keep doing what you're doing, all right?
Sweet, yeah. Thank you, man. Have a good one.
See you,
You too.
Lachlan.
Thanks, Lucky. You heard it first, ladies and gents. The first DGen of the Discord with 3 different multis. Feel free to get on those motherfuckers. But let's get into this week of rugby league. Actually, before we do, is there anything that stood out for you last week? Because I've got to celebrate my boys.
I thought last week's, apart from the Melbourne Storm, every team did not play. It was a bit of an off week for most teams. It was not bad for watching for the close games, but there was just some very average football last week. I know you guys got up, fair play to you guys, but that Cronulla team looked amazing the week before, and they looked awful. The Panthers were very sluggish and slow, but as I said last week, they're not the same team away from home. And to be honest, people have got to look at Penrith now. Everyone looks at Penrith as the team to beat. They're the reigning premiers. People want to knock them off. So they're not. If you look at Penrith's games this season, every team for at least half a game has taken the challenge up to them. They haven't had an easy game, really. Even you guys at Penrith were only down 12-6 in the first half. Apart from Melbourne Storm, like Seagulls had 1 man in the bin and still managed to put 22 points on there. So it wasn't a convincing week for rugby league. That's what stood out to me. So I think this week we might see a bit of normality, a bit of teams bouncing back.
I hope not. And the reason being, right? Unpredictable weeks like last week is the reason why we need to do this podcast. If everything happened the way it should, there's no need to listen to some shit like this.
It's true.
We've got insights, we've got some analysis. You've got to factor a few things. Like, reflecting back on last week, I always thought my boys were a chance.
Yeah.
Cronulla are dog shit when they head up to Suncorp anyway. The Roosters have been playing terrible. I thought, probably not. They're going to have a shit first half and they'll chase points 2 weeks in a row. Unsuccessful chasing them. Parramatta they've been declining, right? They've been declining. Cowboys have had an easy draw, but it's not their fault. They're doing what they can. They're beating the teams that they should. And they met Parramatta at the right time. So pretty good round. It was entertaining. It was shit to tip on, I must say, because
4 out of 8, I think, on my tips. And I had the Warriors, so I was very lucky because they should never have won that game. But even back on the Cowboys point, upon reflection on the Cowboys, because I do reflect, I talked about, their one time they played a big team, they got blown off the park with Roosters. They actually had 3 sin bins that game. So they really had, that was their first game with a full strength team, and they showed what they can do against Para. So I think they're not pretenders anymore. They're third on the ladder after 8 rounds. They're not. They seem legit to me. So
they're the biggest improvers. I think I was looking at it from last year's stats. They're 11 points positive in comparison to last year, which is huge. That's the biggest difference. And I think a lot of the bottom 4 teams have shown an improvement. I think the Bulldogs have shown a similar improvement. The Broncos, I think, we're plus 6 points better.
Yeah.
And our attack is worse. just defensively.
Same with the Dogs, though. Dogs'
Yeah.
attack is awful. It's just the
Yeah.
defense is sharpened up. Tigers as well.
Yeah.
Tigers defensively are just better now. Like the attacks clicked the last couple of weeks, but when they were losing, they only conceded 8 points against the Titans in one of those games. So yeah.
So it was a good week. Hopefully we see some more upsets, but hopefully upsets we predict will happen. So if you're backing an underdog, we'll talk through it. I reckon it's worth calling out if we think there's a chance for an upset here. Because if there is a chance for an upset, we're probably not going to touch it. Let's be real.
Yeah.
But if there's a chance, probably worth calling out. But let's see how we go. So kicking things off on Thursday evening at 7:50 p.m. at Accor Stadium. It's the South Sydney Rabbitohs versus my beloved Brisbane Broncos. Looking at the odds here, it's quite disrespectful to be honest, but Souths are $1.25. Brisbane at $4 on Sportsbet. The line is 11.5 points. I expect that line to move out because Payne Haas isn't playing, same as Kurt Capewell. Could see an overreaction. Total points, we're looking at 39.5. For the Rabbitohs, we've got Liam Knight returns to the bench. Shaq Mitchell made his debut and he's gone. Isaiah Tass keeps his spot in the centres. Tane Milne is available to play, but he's sitting in the reserves at the moment. So probably not looking for a sin bin this week, the Rabbitohs. But for the Broncos, Payne Haas is out, Capewell is out, which brings TC Rabadi into the second row. I've got question marks on him, but I also had question marks on Jordan Ricky last week. I was very concerned, and he was excellent. Reynolds was good defensively. That right side normally shithouse, but we made it work. Payne Haas is back from a knee injury, so he'll be starting in Payne Haas's absence. Turpin's still in the reserves, but I doubt that he's going to play. Adam Reynolds is playing, and that's all I really need to know. Adam Reynolds is there. Staggs is there. We got Flegler on the bench. He was good in limited minutes last week, so he should get more time. But I find this line absolutely disrespectful. You did mention your best bets. You are taking my boys to cover. Tell me why.
I'm not obviously Broncos have improved and playing well, but I think it's just more of Souths. I don't think Souths are nowhere near the level they were last year. Broncos beat them at the start of the year 11-4, and there was no Reynolds. So I still think this Broncos team can beat Souths. I would be, doing an upset kind of multi, and I think $4 is absolute value, but I wait because I think they might get to 420, 450 before the game, and I think that's absolute value because I think they can beat Souths. I think Souths last week had an overachieved result against 12 men and still considered 22 points. Rounds before the form before that hasn't been crashed up with Souths, so I'm not super keen on them. I just think, this is a game they probably will win. I will tip South head to head, but from a betting point, I think there's absolute value in the Broncos. I've just not been convinced with South. Their wins prior were against the Dogs and the Dragons, so they haven't. For me, I think the Broncos are better than the Dogs and the Dragons, so I will take them. With the handy with the start, and then also probably put a multi together with them as one of my roughies in my roughie multi.
Beautiful. I'm leaning on my boys too, not to cover the line. I believe I have found some more value within this game. It is expected to rain on Thursday night out in Homebush, so the total points are a little bit low. So I'm taking the Broncos to score more than 12.5. That's at $1.93, so it's the upper end of a 50-50 bet. Reason being, South in the last 3 weeks, they've allowed 22 points, 12 men from Manly, 23 from the Tigers, and 16 from the Dogs. The Broncos are averaging 16 points per game, which is 5 points more than both the Tigers and the Bulldogs this year. Katoni Staggs, it's all over the headlines. What can you say? Adam Reynolds is pulling some strings, and Tamari Martin, even that pass to Staggs, those cutout passes. That's a halves play, and we've got him playing fullback. So he's engaged in that back line very well. I know there's no Payne Haas, and normally I wouldn't be so confident, but last week he missed a little bit of time. When he went down and Reynolds went down at a very similar time, I was like, we're fucked here. Yeah. But the boys, we performed well without them. Flegler was good. He was pulling through the line. Carrigan was in great form before he got fucking hip dropped this year. So I got those two punching along nicely. Keenan, he's been pretty solid. And at the same time, South forwards, I haven't heard anything from them. Yeah. Who's playing well for South? I know Damien Cook's playing pretty good. Well, he was early in the year. He's running well. But they're just making so many errors. Cody Walker hasn't unleashed the beast yet. Blake Taft's just being solid. Nothing magical happening there. So I'm taking Broncos over 12.5 points because if there's a chance we don't cover and South put a lot of points in, I still think we could score 3 tries.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
taking the 12.5, I add it to every single multi I'm going to have this week. But let's not spend too much time on Brisbane because I can go all night, baby. Into your filthy Friday, we've got a filthy set of games. Some of the dredges of the NRL kicking it off at 6 p.m. at GIO Stadium in Canberra. It's the Canberra Raiders versus the Canterbury Bulldogs. The line continues to move. When I was checking my bets out an hour and a half before this, Bulldogs were at $2. Now into $1.90 each, so it's a pick 'em. Line is 1.5, but that -1.5 Canberra is $2. Dogs are $1.80, so it really is a pick 'em. It's 50-50. Total points you're looking at 39.5. For Canberra, we got some big outs. The green machine is not very much of a machine. It's just a group of 17 blokes wearing green. Jared Croker's named to play his first game of the year. Nickel Clockstad playing number 1. Rapana moves to the wing. Savage is gone. Wyden, 2-match ban for a dangerous throw, is out. And the absolutely jinx for Canberra, my boy, Matt, the bearded one, Frawley, is playing at 6. What a massive in. Not. For the Dogs, Josh Jackson returns from COVID. Max King's back to the bench. And Billy Sikricus, he's the teacher, right?
Correct.
He's been suspended. So Naden's back on the right wing. Ockenbaugh is gone. And they've got a few blokes on the reserves. So, yeah, my first question is, why do you think the odds for the Bulldogs are coming in? They're outsiders. I reckon by the time the game starts, they'll be favourite.
I just think the media will be hammering Canberra now and jumping on the Dogs just because of the win last week. This is the only reason why I think, because I like Canberra just head-to-head. I think if you can find a bookie that has a promo if they're up at halftime, this is the game for it, because if there has been a trend for Canberra, they are the faders again that we talked about last year.
I got them last week.
Just get on them to win, because I think this is a game they can win, and I'm just basically taking on the fact they've won their last 5 against the Dogs, so they don't mind playing the Dogs. Whereas I still don't think the Dogs are as good as, I still think Dogs are worse than last year. It's crazy how they beat the Roosters. The Roosters couldn't have played much worse, and the Dogs, for me, just don't look convincing. 16 points is the max amount of points they've scored this year. I think Canberra can score 18 and get the win, like 18-16 or something. So I'll just take Canberra, look for a bookie that has a promo, and then that way you get paid out regardless of what happens that second half, because it could be a bludger.
I reckon. Well, last week I got on a nice juicy single Canberra first half, Warriors to win, and had me on the edge of my seat, but Sean Johnson, baby, kicking field goals.
He did what Tiger should have done a couple of weeks ago and what Pappenhausen did. Step the first runner and just take your time to slot it. It's when
There's usually only one, yeah.
When Hastings had the other week, they grub it dead. I'm like, what are you doing?
I know. So for this game, I was going to lean towards the Dogs, but mainly because I just hate Canberra. And I think, like most people, even within the media, it's just good to see teams like the Bulldogs and Tigers winning games every now and then.
Yeah.
Because no one wants to shit on them. They've been shut on for years. So I think that's partly pushing the odds in the Bulldogs' favour. I think logically, it's fair that it's 50-50. It's a pick 'em. No team's really better than the other right now. But people are going to want the Bulldogs to win. So people are going to bet on the Bulldogs. So a bit of an emotional one. So it might be by game time, fade them. Take Canberra plus 2.5 or whatever it is. Who knows? But for me, this is one of my best bets. I'm taking the under 39.5 points because I think that line's going to move as well. The Dogs are 4-4 when it comes to over and under so far this season. Canberra 3-5 with most games going under. The 4 games where the Dogs did go over is when they got absolutely blown out by the Broncos, Melbourne, Penrith, and Souths.
Yep.
Looking at their stats, Canberra only scores 14 points a game. Dogs only 10. They do both allow more than 20, but both teams are lacking some spark. I can't see either team scoring more than 20, like you said. 18, 14, whatever it is.
14, 16, something like that. 30, 32 points.
Yeah, and Burden was kicking last week. I think,
Yeah.
and not kicking well.
No one in that Roosters Dogs game could convert to save their life. Like, and they were missing by 10, 20 meters. They weren't even close, those conversions.
Yeah, absolutely shanking it. I don't know why Kieran was given the job because Walker's been kicking all right. But
yeah, but then Kieran didn't take the first one. He took the second one. They missed that by a mile too. And I'm like, oh, there you go.
But so the most Canberra score this year is 24. The most Dogs have scored is 16. So we would need to see both of these teams or one of these teams, either they both play offensively as good as they can, or one team to put on an absolute clinic and blow the other out of the water for a chance for this to go over. But I don't see it. There's no Wyden for Canberra. They got Frawley in, and all he's going to do is move the ball. He's going to be on the left. So what's he going to do? Catch it and pass it to Jared Croker. He's got nothing left in the tank. So I don't see many points in this one. Taking the under 39.5, taking it with confidence because the Dogs are going to be I wouldn't say ready for war, but they're ready to hang on for dear life because that's what they've been doing very well. And Canberra's the type of team you just want to hang on with. They'll beat themselves. So under 39.5 for me, one of my best bets. Let's go Canterbury and your defense. But probably a game more people are going to tune in to watch at 7:55 p.m. Blue Bet the Fortress at Penrith. Got the Penrith Panthers versus the Parramatta Eels. We're seeing some very disrespectful odds if you're a Parramatta Eels fan. $1.25 for Penrith, $4 for Parramatta. The line is 12.5. Interesting. We see the exact same odds between that and the Brisbane game, but the line is bigger for Penrith. I don't know how that works. Total points, 40.5 points. If you're looking at totals for the Panthers, once again, Ivan Cleary's named the same side. I think that's one thing that really helps. So they're very consistent. They don't chop and change. Shit coaches make drastic changes. We'll get to the ninth later.
But they may make changes.
They may. To'o and Leota, they train to the team. They're getting close. So do you think the line moves if these guys do play? Or
I think if To'o comes in for Staines, I think it can move just purely because I think if there's someone who's not lived up or played to their top performance this year, it is Charlie Staines. Leota comes in, I don't think we'll move it too much. I think obviously it's a starting prop, but I think anyway Penrith have a solid enough forward pack. So and he's not. If it was Fisher Harris, it'd be different. But I think Leota's just that solid prop the public don't appreciate as much because they don't. He doesn't seem as the big numbers like as Fisher Harris does. But
he does shit work with a smile basically. Yeah. But I think just thinking about how the public's going to back, they're going to back Penrith anyway.
Yes.
Whether these people are named or not, they're going to back Penrith, and that line will move. Looking at the Eels, we've got Tom Opacek. So an outside back comes back for them, which moves Dylan Brown back to number 6. Jacob Arthur sits in the reserves. Sean Russell's been included in the extended squad. He might make his return after rib and lung injury. So you've got this as one of your best bets. I've decided not to touch it. So let's hand it over to you. What are you thinking?
I've gone Penrith cover the line minus 12.5.
Is that a logical bet or an emotional one?
No, it's a logical bet. I think Para are absolutely falling off a cliff all of a sudden, and I think that's just due to injuries. They do have a lot of outside backs out. When Tom Opacek coming in as the big me and moving Dylan Brown back into the halves, I think that just shows how much depth they don't have in their back line. And they're going to a ground where I'll keep harping on about it. It is very hard to score with a quality team, and they're going to have to be very difficult to crack with that back line the Eels have. So I think they can cover the line, even if Para do show up. And I think that's the thing with Penrith this year until maybe they lose a couple of games is every game the opposition are going to show up because this is their benchmark game. This is the measurement, see where they're really at. Para will show up. It's going to be a very hostile crowd. Para did go to Bluebet Stadium. It's an unofficial game in the trial games and belted Penrith and kept them scoreless. So there might be a bit of a revenge because a lot of pretty much Penrith, apart from Cleary and a couple of players, I think Yo and someone else played that day. So maybe some revenge there, but I think Penrith will make a statement with that win. And I think we'll really start to set up next Saturday against Melbourne as the biggest game of the year. So I think Penrith get the dub and I think they cover the line. Overs as well. I think overs is a chance as well because Penrith could go on a run.
Ooh, why didn't you pick Parramatta unders? I noticed in a few Fortress games you've gone the opposition to go under.
Just mainly because I know they haven't shown it recently, but they do have the ability, to click at some points and get the points, but also just because similar to my thought process with Melbourne, which we'll get onto, Penrith have next Saturday night Magic Round, the game against Melbourne Storm, and Ivan he did against the Dogs. He could rest some players instead, like Appy Coruscant could come off for Sonny Luke, and Sonny Luke could play the last 30 minutes, for example. Yo's come off before Edwards. So I'm not confident they'll finish the game with the same strong team. If they're up, say, by 20 with 10 to go, they may take off, put a couple players on ice, and then they could leak a couple soft tries. So I'm not super confident in that they're going to play the 80 minutes at that intensity. So,
okay. Some wise words. I've chosen not to bet on this one. Reason being, I don't know how Parramatta is going to bounce back. They have a lot of injuries. They were absolutely terrible last week. Dylan Brown's back at 6, though, where he's been playing really well. I think they'll probably come into this game with more motivation than Penrith, or at least to match them. So I could see it being close. Cleary's kicking takes Penrith over, or Penrith wins by 30 and Parramatta drop their head. So I guess I was being selective this week. I feel I have 4 other bets which are stronger, but I'm confident Penrith will do some work. So I will still have a dabble on the game. Chuck a few same game multis on. Probably back Taylor and May again, even though burned me last week. Only failed leg, but what can you do? You get over it and you move on. But up the Panthers. I wouldn't mind seeing Parramatta shit the bed. So NRL 360 have more things to talk about, but that's some selfish entertainment.
I do though believe, I'm confident in Penrith, but I believe they lose one of these next 2 games.
Ooh,
I think if they win this,
Melbourne next week paying $2.20, $2.40.
That's absolutely early betting. I don't care what happens this weekend. I don't care if Melbourne lose, which is not going to happen. Just get on that now, because I'm telling you, you're taking Melbourne Storm as an outsider at the moment. At that big is insane. It's
neutral
ridiculous. Neutral venue. It's not even at Even at Penrith, I'd be like, that is a very good line right now. So
yeah. So I'll probably get on that Sunday night. Load up. Let's get into your slutty Saturday. Kicking things off at 3 p.m. at 4 Points Park is the Manly Seagulls versus the West Tigers. Manly at $1.20. Tigers at $4.50. The line is 13.5 in total points. Highest of the round at 42.5, tied with the Sharks game. We got some massive ins for the Manly Seagulls. They got a triple boost. Tom Turbo returns at fullback. Brad Parker and Jason Saab, casualties from last week's loss. Ben Trbojevic is going to be playing in the centers. Ruben Garrick moves to the wing. Ola Kawatu returns from suspension, taking the place of Carl Lawton, who copped a 4-week ban. Josh Alloway is also listed to return. So big fucking team for Manly here. They got Schuster back, Ola Kawatu. They got an amazing back row at the moment. Cherry Evans is playing extremely well. And they've kept some youth. They got Kula and Tuapolotu in as well. So those blokes have been playing pretty good. Tigers, 2-game win streak, ended last week at the hands of the Dragons. A game that they should have won, I think. They were really in control for like 60, 70 minutes and just couldn't really ice it. They had some opportunities. But for the Tigers, Luciano and Noffa are out. That's probably why their odds are so big. They've been some of their best players. Seyfarth and Ken Mamalo back on the starting side. Simkin returns at hooker. Little at 18th man. Stefano Utakamanu returns after a knee injury. So he was good last year. Pretty quiet so far this year. The walking Sidman Tyrone Peachy. He's back on the bench. They've gotten rid of Jock Madden, who's listed in the reserves. I don't have a best bet on this one. Do you have a best bet on this one?
No, I don't. I originally liked Manly under 27.5. But they have a lot of strike coming back in Ola Kawatu and Trbojevic. That's huge. And they did score 22 points with a man down against South.
Yeah.
I think probably are better defensively than the Tigers. So it's probably about right. I'd say 28 points is where they'll get to.
Yeah.
I don't have a best bet. I think if, again, I had a gun to my head, I think Manly will cover the line, the minus 13.5. Just because Tigers are missing Norfoluma. They're also still got Laurie still out as well.
Strike.
Yeah. That's their attack, their speed. And Luciano is literally more... Yeah, they're missing their 3 best attacking players outside of Hastings. So I don't think they can score many points, whereas I think Manly will score 20 plus with Turbo back in there. Be interesting to see Turbo, though, because before the injury, he was looking like he was playing under injury. So let's see if he returns as 100% fit, because then maybe we might get a sample of the Manly of last year, but it's a gamble because before that, they were looking pretty average as well. But now this is literally their best lineup they've had all year. This could be the Manly that people have been expecting, to have a real crack at this top 4. But that's, again, not super confident because I don't know which Manly are going to show up.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. They do look. I think there could be a lot of points on the board in this game, especially if they have a good start.
Yeah.
Question marks on their props. That's probably where they're weak. They got Tapau and Kepi.
Yeah.
Tapau hasn't been very good. He seems to get injured the first time he gets tackled every week.
Yeah,
Last week he was shit, apparently.
I think he's
on the beers, so I didn't watch it completely, but
yeah, he was. His career of just lifting iron, I think, is catching up to him, and especially because he's been mobile. So I think he's really starting to slow down.
Yeah, someone will pay overs to get him though. Watch.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, we've got no play in the Manly game. We do think there's a chance that they pump. Not willing to put our hard-earned money on it as a best bet, but leaning towards Manly. At 5:30 in Mackay, we see the Roosters versus the Titans. Roosters at $1.31, Gold Coast at $3.50. The line is 9.5 points. Total points are 41.5. Both teams absolutely shocking form, well under expectation. Looking at the lineups, though, for the Roosters, Tupou and Momorowski are named to return in the back line. Naguama and one of the worst goal-kicking displays you'll see from Adam Kieran. They're out. He's injured. Billy Smith is close to a comeback. He's named on the extended bench. For the Titans, massive outs. David Fafita's out for a month, so my fantasy is fucked because him and Haas are in my team.
I've got Haas. He's out for a week. We can hold Haas.
Yeah, he'll make up for it. 200 points next week. Sam McIntyre, he's in. Kevin Proctor's going to be starting in the back row. He loves to give away 6 agains and penalties inside the opposition 40. Phil Sami, Jermaine Asako, Jaden Campbell, they remain chances to be late inclusions after being listed in the reserves. Before we talk about bets in this game, I wanted to get you on something. I was listening to another podcast. Oh, fuck, it's on podcast. It's on NRL 360, right? And everyone's talking about David Fafita. Everyone's looked into the stats, and he's actually outperforming almost every second rower in the competition from meters game, tackle breaks. He doesn't shoot the lights out. He's clearly not worth the money he's being paid, and that's why he's getting all the attention, right?
Yeah.
There's been, you've had Joey Johns and Freddie, Benji. Everyone's talking about, you've clearly had Michael Ennis, James Graham. Everyone's talking about what they would do to get the best out of David Fafita. Now, as a passionate rugby league fan, I wanted to ask you, what would you do? Because Holbrook's got no idea, right? He said it himself. I don't know what to do. But what would you do to get the best out of David Fafita?
Well, he's pretty much a kick-out, the same as kick-out, right? And this is what's going to happen to kick-out next year because he's going to a club on a big salary is the expectation because Fafita's stats are pretty good. They're not incredible, but when they were incredible last year, he was justifying the salary, but you can't keep up those stats. He's not that type of player. It's Tom Malolo. The same thing, 10-year, $1 million a year. Tom Malolo is not the same player he was 2 years ago. But once the heat went off him a bit, he did his own thing. So I would play him like kick-out. Play him on the left edge. Build your attack on that edge around him. So with Penrith, what they do quite often with kick-out is kick-out's the decoy. And all of a sudden, he sent the centres and the wingers at Penrith, your Tagos and Taylor Mays are scoring tries for fun at the moment. Like, they're good players, but a lot of that is kick-out on the ball. So kick-out they'll go to kick-out short. He'll hit the ball hard. Instead of what Titans are doing at the moment is they're just throwing him the ball and going, do something, right?
Yeah.
So he catches the ball and has to do something instead of him running onto the ball. So they play, you go short, hit him, hits the line. The defense jams in because one-on-one, you can't stop him. And then all of a sudden they go at the back and they've got time, So that's what I think they should play him as, like kick-out. He is overpaid. Yeah. There's no doubt about it. His next contract is going to be nowhere near that. But he's still a good player. He's a giant. Play him like they do with kick-out. Play him 60 minutes on an edge, just hits up, take some hit-ups from your own half. Don't give him the ball and tell him to do something. Just build the attack around him because he's not that player that, like similarly with Payne Haas and stuff, like he's not like that player you give the ball to and go do something. That's Tommy Turbo. That's your playmakers. He's not, he's a forward. He's just destructive.
Yeah.
Which Cowboys tried doing with Tomalolo and then realized like it doesn't work. Like now they're just using him as that running ball runner. He just hits up those meters 60 minutes a week. Peyton got slammed for it because they're like, he's got to play 80 minutes. And he said it's not going to work. And now all of a sudden he's got him playing 60 minutes. He's just as effective on 60 minutes and stats. So that's how I'd play him.
They're using Tamalolo pretty well now. I noticed
Very
in the
well.
last game because they've got Ruben Cotter, my dark horse to play for Queensland this year. He's one of my favourite players this year, Ruben Cotter.
Yeah.
But they go Ruben Cotter because similar to Cam Murray, he's got a quick play the ball, play the ball to Tamalolo.
Yes.
But normally they were using him as the first run.
Yeah, exactly.
And then Robson just runs out of dummy half after that. Like you don't build, and then he gets a slow play the ball because he's small, gets out wrestled, and their offense is fucked. Whereas they go Cotter first, quick play the ball, Tamalolo on a retreating defense. They're really nailing that. I see it very similar. I think Gold Coast play Fafita on the right edge because he's got right arm carry, left hand fend.
Yep.
But it's not working because they're just loading up and smashing him anyway. They're jamming in.
Yep.
Plus, they have no strike out there. Gold Coast score most of their tries on the left. Brian Kelly in the centers, Phil Sami on the wing. Sami's been out. Marju's on there, so he's scoring. They score on the left all the time. Even Bo Fermor, who's he's scoring points.
How they played with him last week was what they should be doing for Feeder. They were playing those short balls. Fermor was very close to scoring a couple of times.
Yeah, he pulls through all the time.
And that's how you should be playing for Feeder. Not just give it to him at the back and give him 10 meters, all right, run through them and fend them all off.
He's not Katoni Staggs.
No. No, because you need speed as well. He's quick for a big guy, but you need to be quick on your feet. And he's not. He's just a bump and run player.
Yeah. I think, I'd definitely play him on the left because they got young halves as well. They clearly favor the left side, and you spent a lot of money on this attacking weapon, and you're not using him.
And there's nothing wrong with having a side that just is the dominant attack. Like Souths, for how many years their left edge, they had had it down to a team where teams knew that is back out the back, and they still created 3-on-2s every single time. And every team knew that. Yep, Johnson's going to be on the end of this, and he still got it with the open space. So you can do that. You just need to build your attack around not him running through holes and then deep going at the back, which Penrith have done now with kick out the last couple of years, which has been effective. Previous years we didn't. It was give kick out the ball and hope he makes a line break and throws an offload, and then he throws some of the dumbest passes in the world.
Yeah, 100%. I'd play him on the left for sure. Like even looking at this week, he'd be lining up against Sam Walker if he played on the left.
Yeah, and he'll be like saying, please, I'll run, and the Roosters will panic and will come across when it looks like he's getting that ball at Walker.
Yeah, so you just run like sets, right? You get a hit up, set up on the right side. You go left, first play, you go short ball. He runs over Sam Walker, gets tackled, whatever. Second time around, he runs a hard line. You go straight out the back. You got
all of a sudden time. They've got time out the back because they've jammed in and panicked on Feeder. So
it's like very simple things, but they don't do it. But
no,
I've never coached rugby league in my life. I've only played 3 games.
We should.
We should, yes. That Tonga job's available, so we'll put in our applications. But just curious how to get the best out of Fafita. It's all what I would do, but I don't know what's going on at the moment. But let's talk about this game. How do you think it's going to go? Both teams are in absolute shit form at the moment.
Yeah.
Roosters very short at $1.31.
I unders under 41.5. It's very. I think from a value point, like a roughie, I'm going to put Titans in there just on the off chance that there's no Fafita. They'll click better because they're not going to play the same way because Fafita's not there.
Yeah.
And I think Jaden Campbell's on the extended bench with a chance of coming, but I didn't mind Brimson at fullback this last week against Penrith.
I told you last week I like Brimson at fullback.
Yeah, he's quality. So I think unders because Roosters' attack is abysmal and their goal kicking is abysmal and it's not going to get any better. And I think the Titans also are struggling in attack. I think this could be a real low-scoring game, and 39.5 is way too big. So I know historically there have been high-scoring games between the two, but that was two different teams last year. The Titans and the Roosters could score points; they just couldn't defend. So I'm taking the under 39.5 as not a best bet, but a bet that I like, and then also the Roosters. The Titans to cause an upset in the cheeky outsider multi.
Yeah. I think they're a good chance. Like they only allowed 18 points last week against Penrith.
Against Penrith, yep.
I was thinking first half unders. Hit for me last week. Roosters don't score points in the first half. 2 weeks in a row now. They scored nothing by half time. Titans would be up when Fafita doesn't play. Everyone else seems to play a little bit better. So, look, we'll see. I've chosen to avoid this, but very similar to you. I do like the Titans. They're a sneaky chance. I do have a soft spot for him. Brimo at fullback is arousing to me. And the Roosters lineup is amazing, but they're all playing so shit. Like Teddy ran for 300 meters last week. He was good, but Joey Manu ran for 8 meters. Like it was like
yeah, he was the one talking smack.
Yeah. They're throwing forward passes everywhere.
Yeah, and one of their tries, it was 3-4. It was the worst try ever. They were literally the rest were trying to keep the game alive. It was shocking.
Yeah. So yeah, I think look, Roosters are too short. I wouldn't even touch them. I'm not putting Roosters to win in anything, even though they should. But $1.30, get fucked. Get out of here. This is rugby league, mate. All right. Let's get into the main event on Saturday evening, 7:35 p.m. at Queensland Country Bank Stadium up in Townsville. It's the North Queensland Cowboys versus the Newcastle Knights. The Cowboys are $1.18. Newcastle, $5. That seems short to me. The line is 14.5. Total points are at 40.5. Now, the Cowboys, Todd Payton's named an unchanged lineup, having the hammer come off the bench. It was interesting to see how it was going to work. He came on for Old Rocks and Diamonds. Peter Hiku had a blinder in a very short stint.
He did.
Drinkwater's been killing it at fullback, so he'd be a fool to take him out. Can't really find a starting spot for the hammer, and they're using him as an impact player off the bench, and I don't mind that.
You wouldn't play him at centre instead of Hiku?
No, defensively, Hiku's a beast. Like we talk about how good the Cowboys' defense is, and Hiku's doing so well defensively. So.
True.
I wouldn't make any changes until we need to. Probably slowly take minutes away from Hiku if need be. And then you can even just chuck Hiku into the middle and just let him play if you need to. So, I do like what they're doing at the moment. For the Knights, though, I don't like anything about them. I don't like that they paid Ponga so much. I don't like the way their jerseys look. I don't like the coach. I don't like the assistant coach. I don't like what the coach has done with his lineup. He's made mass changes. So, Tex Hoy replaces Jake Clifford at 5'8". Jake Clifford got hooked last week. Adam Clune's injured, so he's been replaced by Phoenix Crossland. Lachlan Fitzgibbon and Dom Young have been named to return from knee injuries. Sasagi, Brodie Jones, Kurt Mann all out. Just too many changes to the spine for me for a team that's not doing very well. The last time they played well, I think fucking Dane Gagai was playing and he's still out. When's he come back? Is he out?
Yeah, he's out another week or two, I think.
Yeah, they got Tuala playing in the centres. They got some size out wide, Dominic Young and Edric Lee, but they're not going to get good ball. It's all nullified. Clemmer played good last week, but overall, Safi's still shit. Tyson Frizzell's starting to get frustrated too. He's, usually a cool head, but not so cool anymore. But what do you think about this one? Any chance the Knights can win? $5? Juicy odd. I think it's a bit short though, honestly.
No chance. I think this is absolutely value 14.5 Cowboys. Cowboys showed last week they are legit. They're a legit top 8 contender, and the way they're playing and they get injuries, they probably will make the 8. Knights are just awful. As I said, tipped them for the wooden spoon. After round 2, I was like, oh shit, this isn't good. They haven't scored a try in 2 weeks. Over 2 weeks now, they have not scored. They've scored 2 points in the last 2 games. They're playing a team, Cowboys, historically, they do not like going to Townsville. In fact, they've lost their last 5 games in Townsville. And the last time they beat the Cowboys in Townsville was 2015. That was when Thurston was playing. They haven't beaten the Cowboys post Thurston at all in Townsville. So I just don't think the Knights are a chance in this game. I think there's some serious problems in that club, and it's just all coming to the surface now. They've dropped both halves for this week. I know they had a shocker last week, but the Warriors proved that, losing to Melbourne sometimes is not the worst thing. In fact, they come back and won the next week, So I think Cowboys minus 14.5 is absolute steal. I think that'll drift towards the game start because I think there'll be more pressure on the Knights, more questions on the media on the Knights. So I'm just all over that line at the moment. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I think that I'd take that line up to 18 points. By when it's 18.5, I might think about it. Still take it anyway. but all over that 14.5 for the Cowboys. Just looking at their lineup, Drinkwater's playing amazing. Kyle Felt probably play State of Origin. Val Holmes will play State of Origin. Peter Huku normally rocks the diamonds, but he's been a diamond defensively. Tuolangi, he's pretty solid. Tom Dearden's playing really well. Townsend is doing his job, right? And they've missed a proper number 7 since JT left.
Yeah.
Ruben Cotter, one of the most improved players of the year. He's a dark horse to play State of Origin this year. Nanai is rocks and diamonds, but a game like this, you can probably see him scoring 3 or 4 tries. Taumalolo, he's rediscovered his form, still being overpaid, but he's hitting over 200 meters again. Hammer on the bench. Helam Lukey's been strong. He's an impact player. It's actually a good person to pick for any-time try scorers because he always seems to pull through. He's nice and long. He's got a couple of redheads, Griffin Neem, Cohen Hess. They're going hard off the bench too. So their bench is their lineup is strong, so much stronger than the Knights.
Yeah.
And just defensively, it's all happening. Like you got Jake Granville, can't get a spot, He was your best fullback, centre, and hooker last year.
Yeah, exactly. And also just the Cowboys at home are much better. They're not as good on the road. Last week they were on the road, but they were in Darwin, which was their temperature.
Is pretty much North Queensland.
North Queensland, and that's they made it look easy in those conditions. So
yeah.
They defended their line for a long time in that first half against Para and barely had an opportunity in the other half. And once they got down there, they scored after keeping them out. So I think that's always a sign of a team that's playing well, that can defend their line for a long period of time. And when they get down there and they take an opportunity, that's always a good form line for me.
Yeah, no, I agree. All right, we're all over the Cowboys. Getting into your seedy Sunday, kicking things off at 2 p.m. at Amy Park in Melbourne. It's the Melbourne Storm versus St. George Dragons. Melbourne Storm are paying $1.05. Dragons have won 3 in a row for the first time in a fucking long time and are paying $10. Biggest outsiders of the round. The line is 21.5. Total points are at 41.5. Looking at the lineups for the Storm, Tepai Maroa is out for 6 weeks. Jordan Grant comes into the 17. Dean Eremia has been included in the reserves after overcoming a hamstring injury. No real major sides. Kenny Bromwich set to play his 200th NRL game for the club. If you're into milestone men, probably a good chance for an anytime try scorer for Kenny. For the Dragons, Jack Bird is back. Thought he broke his arm. Played on. Missed last week. Returning at 5'8". Talatau Amon was good last week, but he's been moved to the bench.
He's a live wire.
Yeah. Jaden Sullivan, who scored off the bench last week, he moves to 18th man. Scored the match winner. So Amon played great at 6. Bird, you've been playing him in the second row all year. They got Josh Maguire still sitting in the second row. Even though he played all right, that's not his natural position. He's blind in one eye. He's playing on the edge and he's blind in one eye.
Hope it's the right eye.
Hope it's the right eye. But $10 for a team who's won 3 on the trot. What are your thoughts on this one?
I'm staying clear, but I think $10 is a big bet, but maybe putting them to cover the line, the 21.5, just purely because historically, Melbourne Dragons, they are high-scoring games. If it was in Sydney, I'd be really backing St. George because they have a good record there. But when they play in Melbourne, it's not, the same story. They had 52 put on them. It was a few years ago now, but they've won 3 in a row. They're grinding teams at the moment. They kept Roosters to 2 tries, and the Tigers to 1 try. And now they're up against the team that scores tries for fun. So this will be.
It's not even fun anymore. They just score tries.
They just score tries. But then, last couple of weeks, I feel the opposition have absolutely given them every opportunity to score tries. So this might be an inflation on the score because I think St. George are definitely going to be a lot better defensively than the 2 teams they've played in the last couple of weeks. So I'm steering clear of it just purely because I'm not confident they'll cover the line because similar to Penrith, they do have a 6-day turnaround for Magic Round compared to Penrith. They may put players on ice because they got to go up to Suncorp next Saturday and they know that's going to be a tough game. But again, I'm not confident that they'll be up by 40 by the time they do that either. So I'm steering clear of it. Probably should just cover the line, but I'm staying away.
Yeah. I did pick Melbourne last week to absolutely thump the Knights. The Knights gave me heaps of reasons to back against them. The Dragons
It's good when you back that bet's up at halftime. It's done.
Yeah. Yeah. Whereas the Dragons, their form's been pretty good. They haven't versed many good teams. Tigers playing better, but nothing like Melbourne. It's a two horse race again this year. The Roosters, like we've discussed, have been pretty dog shit. So the Dragons earned that win though. They played pretty well, but against Melbourne, like it's just scary form at the moment. But like you've avoided the line, not touching a winner. There's no value in that, and will not go anywhere near the Dragons at $10. But I am playing Xavier Coates to score a try in the first half. I actually wanted to bet on him to score 2, but as we record this, there's no market for that at the moment. But taking Xavier Coates to score a try in the first half, it's over $2, $2.30 from what I remember. The Dragons give up 46% of their tries on the left side. I said it last week, Noffa didn't score, but not many people did in that game. So
No.
Melbourne, they're probably expected to score 6 to 8 tries, I imagine, in this game. Xavier Coates has been finding the line easy, like untouched. He's just wide open. So surely he gets 1 in the first half. It's paying over $2. So juicy way to end your week, banking on Melbourne. Everyone in the back line apart from Pappenhausen pretty much scored. Pappenhausen and Remus Smith actually didn't score last week, but Xavier Coates, he's cleaning up, 5 or 6 tries in the last 2 weeks?
Yeah, 6 tries.
6 tries in the last 2 weeks. So
Adakar's crying from a lot of watching that one. That could have been me.
The Fox. And look, Coates he'll probably play State of Origin this year. He hasn't even played that good. He's just scoring the tries. He's not doing.
Yeah.
He still lets in tries.
Yeah, it's good. It's consistent with that.
He's consistent. He hasn't changed. But love and life. Nice PNG fella, you know. Kicking things off wrapping things up. 4:05 at PointsBet Stadium in Sydney on Sunday. It's Cronulla Sharks versus the New Zealand Warriors. Cronulla heavy favourites at $1.25, which is sure to come in. The Warriors are at $4. The line is 13.5. Total points, 42.5 points. So the bookies are expecting a lot of points in this game. For the Sharks, Dale Finucane is back. He's listed to start at lock. Cam McInnes played extremely well last week in a beaten side. He moves to the interchange. Braden Trindle moves to the 18th man. Aiden Tolman listed to start, but might swap Royce Hunt like they did last week. Wade Graham will come off the bench once again. He played 23 minutes last week. Ikavalu and Connor Tracy, they're fit after injuries earlier this year, but given how good the Sharks backline is playing, I don't think they're going to make any changes. For the Warriors, some good news that Dallin Waiteni-Zelezniak is named after headbutting Nelson's knee. He replaces Jesse Arthur, who's banged up his shoulder last week. Rocco Berry and Viliami Valle maintain their spots in the centres. Bailey Sirinen moves to 18th man. Elise Katoa in the back row. Aaron Penne returns from a one-man suspension on the bench. So Warriors got a 1-point win last week. I don't know if they could do it again, especially not a points bet. Sharks, a lot of people probably expecting a back up from the loss to the Broncos last week. How do you see this one going? You got one of these are your best bets, right?
Yeah, Cronulla cover line. I think Cronulla obviously weren't great last week, but I thought Broncos gave it to them a bit. So, and missing Finucane, I think, is a big factor in this team by the looks of it. So I think they'll come back. They'll bounce. This is a bounce back game for them. They're back at home, full strength, back to the team they want. Up against the Warriors team, who 2 weeks ago conceded 70 points against Melbourne on the road. So, and by even their players' standards after the game, said they didn't deserve to beat the Raiders. So, I think that's an easy line for them to cover. Straight, like there's no, I can't see how Cronulla play that bad again, because I still think they're the top 4. They're at the moment probably the best of the rest at the moment outside of Penrith and Melbourne.
Yeah.
As crazy as it sounded they lost last week, I still think they're the best out of after those two. They're ahead of Parramatta at the moment. Manly, same. Roosters are nowhere near the team. So I think they'll cover the line and that'll wrap up the multi.
Yeah. The Cronulla have shown us they're a great attacking team. Like, just not last week when you got Tony Staggs on a mission, but Cronulla just dropped so much ball. They don't like playing at Suncorp anyway, so I can forgive them for last week's effort. Their attack has been brilliant in every game outside of that. The Warriors are also... There's only 2 teams who've conceded over 200 points. The Knights and the Warriors. So I think if Cronulla pull away, especially nice and early, if that backline's singing, Ronaldo's scoring a hattie, Talakai doing some beast shit. I think the Warriors will drop their heads. There's not great rapport within the group. I notice even when they score tries, they don't celebrate them much.
No.
It takes the Sean Johnson field goal for them to really get up. So I think there's some disconnect within that team. I do like the Sharks to cover, but I didn't want to get greedy by picking 5 best bets. I did it the other week, and I went 4 from 5. So if I just stick to my 4, I'm feeling more confident in. But I do support the idea of Cronulla covering the line, and that line is going to move. I think form says Cronulla, the public says the Cronulla, the Prime Minister says Cronulla. You say Cronulla, and we get a shit ton of listeners now. So if you're listening to this, jump on Cronulla now before it moves. I can see that getting out to 15, 16 points by the time that game starts. Yeah. That wraps up the round. That's our preview. We've tried to keep it within the hour, but thanks to the degen of the Discord, we've gone a little bit longer. It wasn't just me pushing it over this time, but
No, it wasn't your fault.
Usually it is, so it's about time someone else takes it. But a quick recap of my best bets, if you didn't write them down earlier. Brisbane over 12.5 points. Canberra Raiders versus the Dogs under 39.5 points. Cowboys to cover 14.5. And Xavier Coates to score in the first half. Over $16, got $50 on that. Luke, quick recap of yours.
Broncos plus 11.5, Penrith minus 12.5, Cowboys minus 14.5, and Sharks minus 13.5.
Sweet. And if you're looking at some smokies, some potential upsets on the card, we think Brisbane are a good chance.
Brisbane at $4.
Gold Coast?
Gold Coast, yep, at $3.50. And the other one, very cautious in doing it, but I think Tigers at $4.50. I think it could be a dog of a game. So,
yeah, I think the Tigers are value at $4.50.
Yeah,
I don't think they upset, but I think that $4.50 is an overreaction to the inclusions.
If the shit Manly shows up, then it's really on this game. So there's no guarantees this Turbo is going to be fit. So I would take it. And maybe hope
it could be even Tigers to win the first half. That'll be paying like $2.53.
Yeah, true.
I think that could be a juicy one too. So if you're looking at some upsets, have a taste at that. But one last shameless plug: follow us wherever you bloody can. Dabble, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. What do all the YouTubers say? Like, subscribe, click the notification bell. It helps us out with the algorithm. But thanks for listening. Tune in next week. We'll have a new degen of the Discord. We'll see if they can outperform us. Let's see how we go. Good luck this week, punters. Thank you, Luke.
See you guys.